Hello, today we're going to be working with Eclipse. And Eclipse is a Java IDE that will help us develop programs. And Eclipse is a project-based IDE, which means that everything that you're going to be developing is inside of the workspace. This workspace right here is very, very important for you guys to remember, because if you open up a different workspace, all your work will be deleted. And when I do that quotation, it's just going to be missing. It's not going to show up correctly. So we need to make sure that we know what workspace we're saving everything into before we get started. So take a moment to realize what yours is. If I've told you in class, hey, use this particular workspace, go ahead and use that one there. But for all the examples here, my workspace is going to be users, Kyle Denker, Eclipse workspace. So I'm going to click launch. And as you click launch here, it's going to set up the workspace for me. So as this workspace is getting set up, it's going to be creating the folders. It's going to be making sure Java works great. And it's going a little slow right now. That's cool. So just as a heads up, make sure that's always the same. So take a look at this particular screen. This will only show up once you have loaded up Eclipse for the very first time. It has a little bit of an overview. What does the IDE really have? For now, we're going to go straight to Workbench. And inside of this Workbench, there's going to be three primary areas that we're going to be working in. So we're going to take away this task list and online, just so we have a little bit of a larger space here. So we have this space, we have the Package Explorer, and then we have these this right here. And we're not going to be using this very often until we get later on, but we still want to keep this up. So Package Explorer keeps all of your files, all your projects together. And if this is blank and it's not supposed to be blank, you have selected the wrong workspace. Do not ever go to File Open. This feature is really not designed for you guys. There are reasons to use it, but do not open your .java files using File or Open File. If you do that, you can edit it, but it won't allow you to run it. It won't allow you to. It won't give you the error reporting. So if you make a mistake, it's okay. Generally, what happens is you will edit all this stuff when you hit File Open, but you're going to make tons of mistakes because you're not catching them as you go. And when you actually get it in the correct one, there's going to probably be hundreds of mistakes. And if you make, and then it's going to be very difficult to clean it up. So do not use File Open ever. That just helps out a lot. So let's get ahead and get started. Let's make our very first program. So the very first way we do this is we hit File, Java Project. And inside of Java Project, we are going to just type the name of the project. So I'm going to name this one Video Example 1. And you'll notice right here is you'll have the location where it's users, and that's my workspace right there. And then I'll just create a folder inside called Video Example 1. I click Finish, and it will create the project, and it will show up in my Package Explorer. Inside my Package Explorer, I'm going to see the JRE right here. That's Java. Don't mess with it. If you delete anything in here, it will break the project. The next part here is we have the source. And this is where all your files are going to be going for this particular assignment. So you want to create a brand new project for every single assignment that we are going to be done, unless it's a build on top of assignment. And you'll be able to realize what those assignments are when it says, hey, use this assignment for the next part. So right here, this is video example 1. I'm going to come in here into source, and I'm going to create what we call a class. And that's going to be a Java file. So I'm going to do new class. If I click here, there's the class. And then I'm going to come up with a name of it. And I'm just going to do video example. I'm going to hit finish. When I have this, let's pretend that this does not load, and it will load. Let's pretend that did not load. The way you're going to open up files, so I told you not to do File Open. Don't do that. That's bad. What you're going to do is you're going to find your file and just double click it, and it will open here to the right. That is what you guys need to do to open up every single file, even if it's not open here. So the next part that you're going to be using is you're going to come over here and you're going to click on, or right after public class example, and you're going to do extends applet. Now you're going to get a red squiggly line just like Word because there's a problem here. So we're going to hover over it and it's going to tell me what the problem is. It's going to say, well, it needs to be imported. So let's import it. And it will add this line here to the top. That's okay. Now I'm going to have an orange squiggly line, and that's going to be a warning. It's going to be okay. We can ignore warnings. We can't ignore red squigglies. So when we run this, click on Run. Here at the top, we're going to click OK to save it. And it's going to compile, and it's going to show up right in the top left. I just close that out. Perfect. And it's not anything fancy. There's no default size. There's nothing that really does anything here. So we need to keep on going. So there are going to be two methods. Now, if you've taken the other AP Computer Science class, methods are the exact same thing as functions. We'll talk about why we call methods opposed to functions later. But for now, just know that we call them functions, or methods, not functions. So we're going to have public void init, and in public void init, it stands for initialize. So what happens in between these two curly braces happens only once at the beginning of our program. So we're going to run this part here first. The second thing that we're going to have in here is going to be the paint method. This is where we're going to be doing all of our drawing. So it's going to be public void, and we're going to do paint, and we're going to put graphics G in here. Now, inside of this, before we even do that, we're going to have to hover over here and import graphics. Inside of here, it's going to be painting everything that we're going to see on the screen. Okay, so let's first start at the init method, or the initialize method, and what we're going to do is we're going to change the size real quick. So we're going to do set size, and we're going to do a landscape, and it's going to be 300 by, let's do 500 by 300. Okay, and we're going to run this, and now it should be a larger gray box. So when we run that, it should be a larger gray box. Perfect. Okay, perfect. There. Now, let's say we don't like the color gray. So let's actually use a different color. So we're going to do set background, and we're going to do color dot, and if you let it sit right there for a little bit, it will show you all the different colors. We're going to be using blue. I'm just going to type in there. It doesn't matter if it's all lowercase or all capital case, you just can't mix them. It does the exact same thing. So color blue in there. And you'll notice that it automatically imported there. If you have a squiggly line over a color, just hover over it, it will import it. Perfect. So let's run this, and now we should have a bigger box with blue. Perfect. Now, I accidentally hit enter twice when I was running that, so perfect. Now, those are the things that we're going to be talking about in the initialize method at first. So that's all you really need to do your first assignment. The next thing that you need to know is in the paint method, how do we actually draw things on this screen? So we're going to be using what we call G dot draw rectangle. And we're going to draw it at 100 by 100, and we're going to make the width 50 and the height 50. So it's a 50 by 50 rectangle located at the 100 coordinate point. So when I run this, I'm going to see it here. So hopefully you guys can see it. The contrast ratio is not very good, but there's a little black square here on the blue background. Now, something you need to know about applets is applets have the origin starting at the top left of the window. So the X works the exact same way. So this would be 0, and this keeps on going. This would be around 100 here. However, the Y is inverted. So when we go down, we increase the Y coordinate. So this would be 100, this would be around 200, this would be around 300. So that's something to be aware of when doing this. So if I needed to move this up, I would actually take the Y coordinate and give it like a 50, and that would move it here. If If I gave it 150, it would be down here. So just so you're aware of that. If we wanted to fill in the entire rectangle, we do g.fill rectangle. Okay, and we can do the exact same thing. So we're going to set this one a little bit further down, and it's going to be higher. It'll be 50-50 as well. And this way, you'll see a black square to the right of the current square that we have. So we have a full filled out square here. Great. But what happens if we don't like that color? Let's say we wanted to make that filled rectangle white. So we would do g.setColor, and we can just set the color to white. Everything after this line here, we'll paint it white. It's really neat. So you don't have to change the color to white every single time. So you're going to draw all your black objects, then all your white objects, then whatever color after that. So if I actually did another one, so let's say I did g.fillRec, and I was going down the at 0, 0, and let's make this one a little bit smaller. Okay. So if we do that and run it, and just let it load up, we have a white one here and a white one here. It does not matter where on the screen that we're putting them. The very last thing that you'll need to know before you actually start your assignment is looking at the circles. So how do we create a circle? So we can do a draw oval. And it works exactly like the square. This would be your top left. So let's make this at 50, and I will move it down a little bit. I'll move this at 250, and I will make it 50-50. Now this should be colored white only because of it's after the g.setColor. And we can run it, and it should be towards the bottom. Here, perfect. This one also has a fill rectangle as well, or fill oval as well. So fill oval, and you can just make it again like that. And this will be right next to the other one. So now it should be there. Perfect. So you should have everything to do your assignment now. If you have any questions, make sure that you let me know. And good luck. Thanks, and happy coding.